Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Crime Centric. This being a show where I talk about crime dramas that I watch. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of In the Dark. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. First and foremost, Murphy's enjoying her freedom. Everything's great. Everything's fantastic. Obviously, there's still a little bit of not on her part, but more on Felix's part because he comes in while she's changing. And it's like, don't worry, Felix, you've seen this already. He's like, right, when we didn't finish the sentence, but I think the word you were looking for, Felix, because you're like, right, no point in bringing it up. But, oh, you mean back when we had a threesome last season? It's like, sure as hell didn't forget. I didn't forget about that. Felix, I know you sure as hell did, but it's just kind of like, let's not finish that sentence. Let's just kind of leave it as it is, because it's like, yeah, we were both there. We both remember, so. But that's when Murphy gets a good old call from Paula being like, yo, the book was supposed to be in your cell. She's like, yeah, I must have gotten sent back. It's like, cool. If it's not there, my people are going to check the library. If it's not there, you're dead. Cool. Murphy checks her stuff. Cool. I got the book. So she confides in Felix, and Felix, being who he is, because he's completely in love with Murphy. He's trying to seem like he's past all of it. It's not. He's still madly in love with her. So he decides to take it upon himself, and Murphy's like, I didn't ask you to do it. And he's like, you didn't have to. There's twofold today. It's like, of course you never have to ask for anything, Murphy. I do it for you. Now we're kind of getting in that territory where Jess had an issue with you, which once again, I still feel like Jess kind of puts it all on Murphy, and she took some blame, but I'm feeling like doing what you did was kind of out of pocket, Jess. I mean, so much stuff spiraled out of control because you decided to just kind of disappear on your own, because you knew if you came back around with Murphy, she would never fully let you go, and you would never let go. Which I'm actually surprised. I'm like, I guess we are not getting any Jess this season. If we are, it's going to be later in the season. I mean, to be fair, we're only 3 episodes in the season, which I'm assuming is going to be 13 episodes, but it might be a shorter season, but I'm assuming it's still going to be 13. Either way. So that's still like 10 episodes for Jess to pop up at some point in time. She probably won't be a mainstay in it. I mean, to be fair, the actress who plays her might have left the show, so like last season might have been her last season. I haven't looked into it. I typically try not to look into it because I'd rather not know that ahead of time, because that kind of like makes me go like, oh, we will absolutely not get any Jess. But if she's still a part of the show, that means like, oh, she could always pop back in, because you never know. She could be like a series regular and then allocated to like a special guest or a guest starring role in this season. That happens from time to time, so once again, I'm throwing out speculation. These are rhetorical questions. I don't want to actually know what the information's out there. I just want to wait for the show to reveal whether or not she's actually going to be in this season or not. Tangents and all that aside, though, I love the whole thing of Felix joking with Max, being like, oh, put him on a relationship 10. And he's like, what? And he's like, yeah, don't worry, you're human just like the rest of us. And he goes to try and deliver the book, but he's going to the bus. Then your boy Josh, like a bloodhound, cannot stop. He found out, like, wait, Murphy got released. Isn't it suspicious she was able to pay off a $200,000 bail? I'm surprised no one else found that. Like, I mean, Josh is Josh, so he was on top of it. I'm assuming, I mean, the others, like Gene and Sarah, had to find out after the fact, but even they would have to admit, it's kind of weird that she would pull up that money. Where'd she get that type of money? Murphy, who doesn't work, and I mean, they probably looked into Leslie's assets. Maybe they didn't. Like, where would they get? Well, they probably know that Leslie and Felix's family are well off, so maybe they didn't think too much about it. But that's also the thing is, like, right, they did steal that money from somebody, which, once again, there's no way you're just getting away with that without issues. So we'll see how that plays out. But that, in turn, might actually play closer to some Felix stuff, which I'm kind of theorizing about, especially because everything that went on, his conflicted feelings about Murphy, I think, is going to lead him in. I'm blanking on her name. Was it Kayla? The girl from last episode who he knew that basically took the money from her uncle and gave it to him. I think there's going to be something more with that. We'll talk about it later. But for now, Leslie knew something was up the moment Josh showed up, looking all around, and I love Murphy just being like, you're not going to find anything. Did you find what you want? And he's just uttering under his breath. He's like, shut up. He's like so irritated with Murphy. Once again, it's like, you hate her, but you love her, and you hate yourself for having, well, you don't love her. You used to love her, and those feelings are conflicted. Once again, he doesn't want her to die, but he wants her to suffer. So it's like, right, because he hates himself for loving her. He hates himself for getting tricked by her. That's what really, like, grinds his gears, if that's what really bothers him the most. So him showing up like that, which I'm like, the more and more Josh is doing, I'm like, the more and more this is looking worse and worse for him. It's like, once again, he is right up, he's super right, because he was like, wait, she took an audiobook, did you check all of it all the way through? You're like, yo, your boy Josh is on it, because no one knows him like, no one knows Murphy like he does. Only other person that would be Max, but Josh has his obsession still leaves him with a certain objectivity when it comes to Murphy that even Max doesn't have, because Max and Felix and kind of everyone around, the people who care about Murphy the most, Jess included, kind of still get swept up in the vortex that is Murphy Mason, you know? So Josh is the only one amongst them who kind of does have that objectivity, because he kind of hates Murphy now. No, he pretty much hates Murphy. Doesn't want her dead, but he hates her. And everyone else is kind of love blind when it comes, like, their love for her blinds them to, yeah, they're aware of her flaws, but they still can't help. They want to be loved by her. They like, there's that complicated thing of they dislike themselves for it, but they can't help but loving her the way they do. That, once again, that applies not only to Felix and Max, but also Jess too. I mean, again, when you break it down, I think all of them are feeling some void inside of themselves. They're all kind of codependent on Murphy in some shape or form. They're all feeling some void inside of themselves with, like, you know, Murphy. Because, like, last season they kind of tackled, like, some of Max's mom issues might be why he kind of latches on to Murphy the way he does. So, and Felix is kind of in the same way. We know he has issues. I mean, not just his family, but definitely had issues with his mom, and now everything with their grandmother. Like, you can tell, like, maybe that kind of influences some bits and pieces. I mean, plus, like, I think Felix, he wants to feel wanted by someone. Because I forgot, Leslie kind of dived into it last time about, like, a girl that Felix, like, would bend over backwards. It's kind of in his personality. When he falls for a girl, he goes hard in the paint, which, hey, I was that dude too. I feel like I still kind of am. Like, oh, a girl shows you the slightest attention, of course you're going to bend over backwards for it, which is not a good personality trait. It's actually, you know, and I think I share that common flaw with Felix. But the point was, Leslie kind of brought that up. So once again, it's just a void they're feeling inside of themselves, and Murphy just happens to draw you in and kind of fill that void. So Max could tell the entire time something was up with Murphy, and she was acting like everything was cool. So, but Felix, you know, gets picked up by Leslie. I thought something was going to be up with Felix because he was looking sick the entire time. It's like, right, him and Murphy scarfing burgers back and stuff. That plus Pretzel getting sick. I thought, I was like, there's got to be some kind of connection. He's feeling sick to his stomach. Pretzel's going through what Pretzel's going through. So I figured there was some commonality there. I was like, maybe there's something there. It seems like they were both sick for two different reasons. Him stuffing his face full of burgers and it just didn't sit right. And maybe he just has a weaker constitution than Murphy. Or no, maybe there was something else to it, but it just seemed like they never really dived into it, so it seems like it was just kind of an isolated thing. But Josh calls up the library, trying to find the library that the book came from. He goes there. Leslie drops Felix off. He breaks in, tries to return the audiobook. Is about to basically shit his brains out, so he has to go take a dump. Leslie sneaks in after seeing Josh pop up, and it's like, holy crap, we're in the bathroom. Josh is trying to bang down the door. Oh, okay, here's a condom I have on me. I guess it's like, right, you always want to be prepared, but it's just like, why? With everything going on, I guess it's like, hey, maybe it's a condom from before. I don't know. I think you could almost imply, like, maybe Felix is going to hope for something. I don't know. Maybe I'm just reading too much into it. But I guess better safe than sorry, right? So he had the condom, and I was like, are you going to shove that up your ass? He was like, I'm going to swallow it. I was like, I would have thought shoving it, I don't know, because I feel like, I mean, either way sucks. You don't want either situation, because if that busts and the packaging busts, you're going to, like, fucking overdose, no matter which way that's in, whether it's down, no matter which orifice it's in. If that condom busts and any of those baggies bust, yeah, you're going to, like, overdose, because you're going to get hit hard. But Leslie flushes it down the toilet because Josh ends up busting in, and Josh goes too hard in the pink, and he's throwing Felix against the door. I'm like, that's not only stalking / police harassment, you're also assaulting someone for no reason. So it's like, that's not going to look good, especially when they're able to use this against you when it comes to Murphy's trial. That's super not going to look good in your favor. Obviously, Leslie was pissed off about Felix doing what he did, but it's like, right, like, don't keep stuff like this a secret. Sadly, Felix ends up getting grabbed by Paula's people, so that sucks. Especially because Murphy was making Max feel so bad, because it's like, right, you don't believe me, because she kept being like, yeah, something's up with Pretzel. Pretzel's acting a little differently, and I was like, right, did like what? And like I said, I thought whatever was happening to Felix was happening to Pretzel. Turns out Pretzel actually accidentally got into a whole bunch of chocolate and ate it. But Max, because he's dealt constantly for so long with Murphy's constant lies, he didn't want to believe her. Which, the sad thing is, yes, she was hiding stuff from you, but she was being honest about the situation. Because he's thinking like, right, someone needs to be here to watch you, and you just want me to leave so you can do whatever you're trying to do. You're trying to lie to me, you're trying to get rid of me. But no, she was being honest in this situation. Once again, it's the boy who cried wolf type of situation. But luckily, Max did finally believe him when he found all the chocolate. So I wonder, is that something that really I've never been in that situation, so I never knew that could happen. I guess the point was like either maybe it wasn't just regular water, maybe it was like something else to kind of induce vomiting. But the point was to kind of make Pretzel throw up. So it looks like Pretzel is okay. So it all worked out. Once again, the irony is that Max is so like doesn't believe Murphy, and Murphy's like, no, it's all good. I'm telling you the truth. And this kind of blows up in their faces later, because he tries to like comfort her when she's like stressed about everything, and he stops and she's like, "Oh, you bitch!" And he's like, "What?" It's like, "Yeah, you what? You just can't even touch me." He's like, "Fine, this is better. Is this better?" And you're like, "It's gonna be such a slippery slope," especially consider Leslie said the L word earlier, and Max said it back, and part of me was almost like, do you actually love Leslie? Do you like Leslie, or is it just kind of gets in that complicated territory, especially with Murphy being around? You're kind of like, do you really feel that way, or is it just because she's not Murphy and you're just trying to convince yourself you don't feel the way you do? Once again, even if maybe, who knows, Murphy just has that kind of magnetic pull on people, just that kind of leads to that. But Leslie called the cops, told them about the van, then talks to Murphy, she ends up running Paula's file at her law firm, and ends up going to making a deal with Paula. You leave me, my brother, Murphy, and Max alone. I'll represent you and I'll get you out of prison. So it's like, okay. So diving deeper and deeper into this deal with the devil. So that's super, you're like, oh god, this is going to get super ugly, because Leslie's not only got to represent Murphy, she's also got, but to be fair, Paula's situation is probably going to come up a lot faster than Murphy's. It's going to suck if Murphy and Paula end up having trials the same day. That's going to be complicated, but I feel like Paula's is probably like coming up sooner than Murphy's. You'd assume, you'd hope at the very least. But before that entire deal was hashed out, Murphy was just kind of like, all right, Max, just leave here. I don't want you to get hurt. She's like, even she admits, like, right, we both know who I am. I've been here. I've been free 5 minutes, and look what things did. It's like, yeah, the dominoes just never stop falling when Murphy's involved. Once again, it's not her fault. It's just a string of just everything that can go wrong just happens to always go wrong. But given the opportunity, Max did seem like he was going to leave, but he came back because, once again, cares too much for Murphy. So we're going to stick this out together. She calls him an idiot, but she's really appreciative of it because she doesn't want to go through this alone. Because she says, like, no, I'll talk my way out of this. It's like, Paula's not the type. Because she knew from the beginning, like, even if we returned the drugs to them now, if they came here and got the drugs, Paula's just going to think I lied to her and tried to steal them. So it's a lose-lose situation. So Murphy wouldn't have been able to talk her way out of this. And so her and Max, it's like, right, I don't want to spend our last few minutes arguing. You're like, oh boy, don't, resist. And it's like, nope, her and Max do their thing. Which, I'm curious, did they actually fully bang it out? Because it's not like Murphy, I guess in between scenes, she could have pulled her pants up or something. But it's like, he was kind of down to his, like, boxers or something, but she was still wearing her bra and her jeans, so that made me go, either like it was heavy making out and no time for sex, because like once again they didn't like, because if it's one thing, I don't know, I don't think they banged it out. I think they did some heavy making out, but I don't think they banged it out. I don't think there was enough time. Who knows? Maybe maybe just because it is the CW, they couldn't just show them laying butt naked, or at least like down completely to their underwear on the chair. So it's just supposed to be implied that yes, they did in fact have sex, and they just put back on enough of their clothes. But the fact is, they show you him handing Murphy her top and putting back on, makes me think they just made out heavily, which still sucks either way, especially once again after dropping the L word on Leslie. So I'm curious how that situation was going to go down before before the deal came through. So Felix got let go. Everything's copacetic. Everything's good. Obviously, Murphy was worried. It's like, oh my God, my best friend almost died. You know, it's just like, once again, it's just like she already kind of lost Jess. You know, she kind of set Jess free. She tried to do the same thing to Max. It's like, you and Leslie are good together. You're happy. Just go live your happy life. Problem is, later on when Leslie comes back, Felix happens to notice, oh cool, her shirt's inside out. I wonder how that, because he saw her early in the episode and her shirt was fine. How would her shirt get inside out? Oh, her and Max must have done something. It's like, oh, and now he knows that. Now, is he going to bother telling his sister? It's like, no. It sucks because, once again, he's in love with Murphy, so knowing they did anything, he's going to assume they banged it out. Even if they didn't, even if it was just making out, it still sucks. It's still, because both siblings are in love with, Leslie's obviously in love with Max. Felix is obviously in love with Murphy, and it's just kind of stabbing both of them in the back, and they don't deserve that. You know, it's like, oh, it sucks. And that's why I feel like Felix is most likely going to end up with, at least for some time, the girl that helped him out last episode. I think they're going to reconnect, and there's going to be something there. I mean, Felix already went through it. Felix already went through this last season, and it sent him spiraling, the whole Murphy thing, especially because Murphy keeps relying on him, and he's willing to go so far from it. Even Leslie's like, why are you doing this? He's like, the heart wants what the heart wants. He can't help that he loves Murphy, right? And the fact is, we know that he still has that pill on him, and I think eventually Felix is going to be inclined that, like, with everything going on, now getting dragged further into this Paula thing, now knowing Max and Murphy did whatever they did, he's going to end up popping that pill. The problem is, a lot of people who've taken that have overdosed and died, so it's like, that could be a slippery slope even with just one pill, because, depending on what it's, cut with, ain't it cut with like fentanyl and something else, it's like, it's going to end up killing him, just that one pill. So that's going to be the concern the entire time. This also solidifies, like, probably the whole 3-week mark from now, it's definitely going to be Max is the one that dies in the elevator. Once again, it'd be heartbreaking if it ends up being Felix on 2 folds. Well, it's sucky either way, because, well, if Max and Leslie are still together, she's not only going to lose Max, but so is Murphy. But if it's Felix, Murphy's going to lose not only her best friend who's secretly in love with her, but also Leslie's going to lose her brother, and Leslie's going to, like, fucking hate your guts either way, because it's like, right, this is all your fault that things spiraled to this point. So either way, it's either going to be, I'm leaning more towards Max. I kind of always was, but once again, the drama of it would be like, no, Felix, especially the person who goes so far and beyond for you, even further than Max, because Max cares for you, who'll go far for you, but Felix is the one that goes above and beyond. That it's just like, that's just, I don't know. I'm still 50-50 on who it could be. Now, it might be a third party unrelated. I highly doubt it, but you never know how they are going to twist this around. I feel like I'm curious, are we going to get as many flash forwards as we did with the Nia situation in season 2, or even the quote-unquote Jess situation in season 3. I wonder, will we even really get that many flash forwards kind of filling that? Because I feel like they really heavily extended it. Like, it was more of a, like, they made more of a plot point of that in season 2. I feel like they didn't flash forward as much in season 3, but maybe it's been a while, so maybe I'm misremembering. So it might not be that frequent in this season, but either way, all that's going down. Then Jean and Sarah continue to investigate the pill situation. The guy they were interrogating last episode super got murdered in front of them. The way it was shot, I was almost like, oh, is this like them filming a movie or something? Like, it's not actually going to be real, is it? And it's like, oh no, he's super dead, huh? I just thought the timing was interesting. Like, whoever it was happened to kill him just before. I mean, there had to be Paula's people. I wonder, in fact, was it the guy that went eventually, well, I almost wondered if it was the guy that came and got Felix. Probably not, but because she's probably got a whole network of people, so it could have been anybody. But I think he's supposed to be her equivalency to Sam. So now their potential lead is now dead. So there's that. When those guys did have Felix, though, they did end up killing a cop. I'm like, that's kind of bad. I mean, sadly, situation played out that way because, once again, Leslie called the cops, and now it's a situation of they stopped the car because of the license plate, and ended up, it's like, right, do you really want... I guess they didn't really have much of a choice. It's like, right, the cops want you to step out, probably would have found guns, whole other stuff, bunch of stuff on you, so I guess it's just faster and easier just to kill the cops, so... that complicates things. Well, Gene ends up jumping down Josh's throat because it's like, right, he's so obsessed with Murphy, we could have used your help. This other guy is doing work that isn't supposed to be on him, especially because he was doing it alone. You were supposed to be here to help, but you're obsessing with Murphy. Take a break. Which you're like, once again, he is obsessed. This will legally turn into an issue later on. Once again, you're just helping Leslie's defense for Murphy that much more. If she finds out about Max and her, that's probably going to put a staple. Well, I don't know, because it probably also comes down to how Felix feels, because she'll do it even if she's mad at Max. She's in the middle of all this now, so she still has to do her part, but she might still try and fuck over Murphy like she did last season, but be like, yeah, they've already gone, even though they weren't. So Leslie isn't above doing some shady shit to protect, to keep Max to herself, but also to protect her brother from deep diving into this, and now she's deep in it, but she'll probably protect all of them and just eventually throw Murphy to the wolves. We'll see. If it comes out about her and Max, which I don't know. It depends on if Felix and his frustrations next episode end up spilling the beans or not. Nevertheless. And then we get the stinger where it's like, hey, Gene and Sarah are on the scene where that cop dies. Wait, there was a body cam or car footage captured of that vehicle. Wait, it's the same license plate partially as the one Felix was taken in. Okay, and now it's like, cool, because they're connected to the task thing that the guy that died with the money in his mouth that they found earlier, he's connected to that. So now it's like, cool, it connects all this. How the hell did Josh know? Once again, he might be crazy, might be paranoid, but he ended up stumbling across this. It's not like this was 100% good detective work. There is to some extent because, right, his instincts about Murphy is right. Because he knew, there's no way Murphy would take a book like this that's a romance novel. And he's like, really, that's all. It's like, what? Once again, he knows Murphy better than you guys know her. So he knows how to think like she would. That's how he knew about, she wanted a hollowed out cane. Haha, she got that wood cane. Can't help you now. He saw through it all. So, yeah, now they're going to have to go back apologizing to Josh. Actually, my guy, you were right. Murphy is, neck deep in all of this, potentially. All of them are now, so... Woo! Wild episode. Oh, the show continues. That's what I love the most about this episode. This show, man, everything that can go wrong, the twists and turns, is just... Once again, I love the Josh thing too, just because, right, it seems like he's so wrong, he's so crazy. But from the beginning, we the audience were like, man, Josh is good. Once again, but it's more so because of his obsession of Murphy. If he wasn't keeping much of an eye on Murphy, if he wasn't completely obsessed, then he wouldn't know all that he knows. He just happened to be right just because he's obsessed with Murphy. Because of that, he was keeping a close enough eye on her to see her. But once again, just shows you it's a combination of, yes, there's some detective skill in it, but it's more so his obsession and knowing her well enough. So either way, it's going to be exciting to see where the next episode ends up taking us going forward with all of this. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day, and good